Green Thumbs, welcome back to the channel. Today is episode 4 of our Hoya show. And today we are featuring one of my all-time favorite Hoyas, the Hoya Carnosa Compacta. This one that you see in front of you is just the standard green. As far as I know, there are 4 different variations. You have the standard green, you have the outer variegated, sometimes referred to as the Carnosa Compacta regalis. I've also heard it called Carnosa Compacta albero marginata. There also is the Mona Lao, which has the white variegation on the inside of the leaf, so very much like a Carnosa princess. And there also is a new cultivar out called the Jody Silver. That one is a gorgeous plant. I think it's fairly new to the market. I'm pretty sure that it was created. It's currently fetching about $250 for a 2.5 inch pot. So we won't have that in my collection anytime soon. But today's focus, we're going to focus just on the standard green variety. This is one of my, not only one of my all-time favorite Hoyas, but one of my all-time favorite houseplants. This is an OG for me. He has grown considerably since I bought him. I got him at Walmart. I paid maybe $15 for it. So very happy to have it, very happy to have it in my collection. I repotted it probably 3 or 4 months after I purchased him. Put him into my aroid mix. Is not as chunky as my aroid mix has evolved into, but it is in a chunkier soil all the same. You can find the Carnosa Compacta natively growing in areas such as Southeast Asia all the way down that little belt down to Australia. It is commonly referred to as the Hindu rope for good reason. It does resemble a rope as it grows and as it kind of wraps itself around its vines. It leads very much to the name. As for the growth habits, I personally feel that the Hindu rope looks best either hanging in a basket or perhaps on a pedestal where it is allowed to trail down. You can trellis it if that's really what you're going for. However, because the leaves wrap themselves around the vines, this one doesn't lend itself as easily to climbing up a trellis the way some of our other Hoyas do. As for leaf size, these are about as mature as the leaves will get, so they're approximately 2.5 to 3 inches long. They do fold in on themselves though, so the leaf itself, if you were able to smush it down and lay it out flat, would actually be a lot larger than what it looks like on your plant because of the way it grows. The blooms are a very pretty light pink bloom, almost the color of the shirt that I'm wearing today. The standard green will have a more red center to the corona than the Mona Lao or the outer variegated Hindu rope will. I keep it in my home. Like 95% of my Hoyas, I have it in a terracotta pot. It is in my typical Hoya aroid mix, although this was one of my first Hoyas that I repotted. So this mix in particular isn't as chunky as some of my other Hoyas are in. One thing I will say, all of our Hoyas don't really like to be fussed with too much. They don't like to be repotted often. I did repot him last year, so I'm going to give him another year or 2 until I repot. If I wanted to supplement with fertilizer, which I probably will once I start to see active growth again, I will be using earthworm castings tea to fertilize these. I have found all of my plants within my home respond very well to that instantaneous boost of earthworm castings whenever I repot them. So I assume that I will have the same results when I use the earthworm castings tea. As for propagation, my Hindu ropes in particular, a lot of Hoyas I will propagate directly into soil, but I have found with all of the ropes that I have propagated, they actually, for whatever reason, seem to do best when I water propagate them. I'm not sure why. They just seem like they establish roots faster and more healthier and hardier when they're in water than they do when they're in soil. They seem to really struggle in soil. I also have found when I use the water method as opposed to like the soil method, typically when I propagate my plants into soil directly, I will tent them or I will put them in some sort of humidifying chamber to increase the humidity around the plant as the roots develop. When I propagate in water, the plant is already hardened off to the standard household humidity level. It doesn't have to try to readjust itself. I did do the tent method with this a year ago, and I found when I took the humidity tent off of it, it really struggled to kind of acclimate and get itself back to being okay with standard humidity. And actually here I have 2 pieces of Hindu rope that I have propagated from this plant. One broke off when I was repotting it, and the other one I took off intentionally to play with it and see if I could get it to root. And both of these were rooted. They've been in here for approximately a year already, so they're completely established. As for water requirements, this is one in particular I allow to get very dry before I water it again. I will insert a clip here. Hoya Granny is one of my subscribers, and she has asked me a couple different times to show her what a Hoya looks like when it's thirsty and it's ready to be watered. This is one in particular that I allow the leaves to get a little soft and a little wrinkly before I give this plant water. I water this it's probably pushing once a month. It really does really well, and it doesn't complain. Now in the growing season, when it's getting a lot more sun than it is currently in the winter, I will need to water it more often. However, now in the winter months, once a month is fine for this plant for me in my home conditions. I'm also going to include right now a couple different pictures that I found on the internet of what this plant looks like when it's really been allowed to just kind of grow wild and do its own thing. You can see from these pictures, they look gorgeous when they're left alone and are left to just kind of grow and do their own thing. The vines can trail anywhere from 3 to 8 feet, resulting in a very impressive looking Hindu rope. As for pests, I've never had any issues with pests with these except for the occasional fungus gnat, but that's a soil problem and not a plant problem. They are known to have issues with mealybugs. Again, I think that comes down to properly maintaining your plants and checking them, and if you see a pest pop up, you have to be willing to take care of that pest right away before they breed and make situations worse for you. In conclusion, this is absolutely one of my favorite Hoyas. I love it. I love the way it looks. I love the way it grows. I love how easy it is to take care of. It's just a stunner, and it's no wonder that year after year people hunt and they look for this plant, because once it's established and once it starts to grow, there's really no stopping it, and it's just gorgeous, and it's very unique and quite the conversation piece. Well, I thank you guys for watching. Let me know in the comments, do you own a Hindu rope? Would you like to own a Hindu rope? I'll talk to you guys soon. Take care. Bye.